what is Hal9? Hal9 is a model agnostic platform. Model agnostic means that we don't really care about any LLM model in particular. I personally believe that the future of LLMs is going to be commoditized. You are going to be able to get a really high quality model from plenty of vendors, and really the business of those companies is going to be compute, leasing GPUs for you to run those models rather than the model themselves. And one lead of that future that is very, I think, obvious to see is that in terms of costs and openness, we've seen that models, even if we are talking about really large models, with billions of parameters, they have been decreasing in cost. We also have extreme examples like Llama from Meta that is open source. So we're seeing this pattern where the model itself is reducing in value while the real business of those companies is charging you for compute, because GPUs are a scarce technology, and there are different gateways that prohibit you or limit you to use hardware that will run those models. But the model itself seems to be something that will become a commodity, and anyone, quote unquote, will be able to use it for different applications. The question is, how can you leverage those LLMs as much as possible? No? So let's assume that, or our assumption here at Hal9 and throughout this video series is that you are free to choose any LLM that is best for your application. Right now, it's very popular to suggest that some small models are better for certain applications, for example, mobile applications or very specific use cases where you don't need all the data from the internet to provide an answer to a customer that maybe is just asking a really simple question about your website. You don't need to know physics and chemistry and all the world history to answer questions from a very limited knowledge base. So we have that conversation about very specific use cases where small models are a good option. There are other use cases where really large models with a lot of knowledge make sense. And we have seen also other very application-specific models like generating new drugs or modeling physics or chemistry, where the model doesn't know about a lot of things, but it's an expert in certain fields. So there are different options there, and the future that we believe in is that you as a consumer or as a business architect, part of your duty is to choose the LLM properly, and that has to do with which vendor you want to have a business relationship with, what terms, what pricing makes sense the most to you. But that's it. No, like we as a company, we are not involved in that competition or that race of creating new models. We are not offering a new LLM. We assume that you choose which model is best for you, and then the question is, okay, now what? No, I have the model. I chose. Let's as an example, let's say that you chose GPT-4o because reasons. But the question is, how can you productionize that LLM and make the most of it on your website, on your product, or in your day-to-day operations inside your organization? So that's what that question is answered by Hal9. So when we say we are model agnostic, you can use any model, and we are a platform that allows you to launch applications of those models. And again, we are talking mostly about LLMs. That could be any other model. Let's think about models that generate images, for example, or videos. You will have the same problem, no? So in that sense, once you have the model, you could use Hal9 as a platform to launch these applications. And we're going to be talking a lot about chatbots. And just to give you an example here of our product, this is the Hal9 chat user interface where the user can type messages, can read messages from the LLM. If maybe you don't know this, but LLMs at the core are an API, so it's hard for a user to interface with, a bare API. You need a UI like this one, a website, if you want to call it that way, where the user can type and read messages or use the microphone to record a noise note, or read or hear messages that were generated from the LLM. You can see here that in this chat, I asked for something that requires some code generation from the LLM, and that code was deployed, and I, as a user, can use this code here, let's say 7 times 5, 35. So I'm able to deploy code from the LLM and to use this as a user. Here you can see that we can attach files, etc. You have a lot of features here that will allow you to interface with the LLM. In addition to that, we also have what we call the asset manager, and that basically is a way for you to manage all the things that were generated by the LLM. So the LLM could generate text here, and you want to read it. Could generate code and you want to deploy it, like this calculator. But it could also generate images or videos. So there are different things, assets that could be generated by the model that you want to manage on a platform. We also have a code editor that I showed here. For example, this is a chatbot that generated a calculator using Streamlit, and I can view and edit the code here on the Hal9 platform. And we also have some admin tools, such as creating your profile, assembling teams, and assigning roles, all that stuff that you would expect from a platform. In terms of backend, we have a Python package if you are a hardcore developer and you want to deploy chatbots or applications from code. You can do it using Python and our package. We also have a vector DB. If you're not technical, maybe you haven't heard of this term, but basically the way LLMs store meaning is by using vectors. So you need a database that stores vectors. Maybe you've heard the term embedding. So that's basically a database that is optimized for handling those objects. We also have a data connectors. For example, if you want to create a Slack chatbot, you can very easily do it with Hal9. That's one of the videos that you will see on this video series. So you don't have to write all that code by yourself. You can just use Hal9 and create your Slack chatbot very easily. And we also handle authentication for you. We're using Auth0, so your users might use things like Microsoft Live or Google or GitHub to authenticate into the chats or the different applications. So we basically provide you with a platform that solves all those problems for you to focus on the real business case or use case that you want to solve with your chatbot or your application. And just as a note, we also have a code interpreter. That means that any code that is generated by the LLM is being executed on top of Hal9, so you don't have to worry about that. We have a very clean set of functions that you can find on our documentation, and also here in this video series, we will be demonstrating how to use them and how that works. And that code interpreter and the whole platform, the whole Hal9 platform, runs on Kubernetes. Basically, if you are not technical, basically this means that any code that you use on top of Hal9 or that is being generated by the model is very scalable. So if out of if suddenly you have a lot of users trying to use that chatbot or that application or the applications that were generated by the LLM, we can support them, right? Because Kubernetes is very good at assigning compute resources or requesting more compute resources from your cloud provider, and can be very elastic in the way we manage workloads. And it's not written here, but Hal9 is compatible. We can launch Hal9 on top of any cloud vendor. If you use Microsoft or Amazon, Google, or maybe you have your own on-premise data center, you can use those. We don't really care about the cloud providers. So this is an overview of what's in the box of Hal9. You get all of these features, and let me go back to this example. You can see here that basically it looks like a chat interface, but there's a lot behind it to power it. So yeah, that's what comes in the box. In the next videos, I will show a couple of examples of how this works, and we will show you what you can build with this platform. I hope you stay and watch it and give it a try.